We can give our children only two things in life which are essential: strong roots and powerful wings. Then they may fly anywhere and live independently. Of all the luxuries in life, the greatest luxury is getting freedom of the right kind. These are the sayings of our next guest. There are leaders, and then there are transformational leaders who are able to inspire teams and nations and lead them to accomplish greater things. This form of leadership involves two types of transformation: performance beyond expectations and transformation of followers into leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in according a warm and a hearty welcome to none other than Padma Shri Sudha Murthy, author and philanthropist, chairperson, Murthy Foundation, a leader who embodies the elements of transformation leadership. In conversation with her, we have chairperson NPSC, Dr. Sudha Acharya, principal, ITL Public School. Over to you, ma'am.
Namaskar. It is my great privilege to be in conversation with a personality who is an embodiment of simplicity, who is an academician, an engineer, a philanthropist, a movie buff, and a social worker also, resilient social worker. She is none other than Padma Shri Dr. Sudha Murthy. So it is our privilege and sheer delight to talk to you, ma'am, today. Your life is an open book for all of us. Once we start reading your book, we fall in love with it. Ma'am, now the whole country is talking about reading mission, reading campaign. You are aware that Government of India is running a campaign for 100 days reading mission. You know, we all grew up reading books. We have been with the habit of reading 20 lines at least before sleeping. But how do we get children to read? And these children who have their digital identity, they have so much distraction. They have Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn, all those things. So how do we get them to read? I'll start with your childhood, ma'am. You belong to a family of teachers, I would say. So great value system that made you who you are today. And you have always taken the right choices, in my view, wherever. So, very early you have started writing. First of all, you started in your native language, then you shifted to English. Little bit throw light on your childhood, how it shaped your career, your life.
Sudhaji, thank you for inviting me as the chief guest for your valedictory function. It is always a joy to talk to teachers. Because I come from a teaching family. My father was a professor and a doctor in a medical college. My grandfather was a high school teacher. My mother was a school teacher. Then I married into a teacher's family. My father-in-law was a school teacher. And my brother-in-law is a professor. So probably teaching is part of our DNA. And my era was different, We should not compare that today because today's scene is post-liberalization. Okay. And my time was post India's independence. Both are there is so much difference, vast difference is there. So when I talk about my childhood, people at this time or my grandchildren for that matter, they will not be able to relate because it is entirely a different system where we lived. It was a joint family with 13 cousins and nobody will have separate room. Then all of us will have same food, not at what you want to eat. It was not like that. But it also helped us in so many ways to adjust, to understand, to do activity of our age group in a village where I was born and brought up with no electricity around. So physically, today when you look at it, it was difficult, but for us, it was never a difficulty. We grew up in a much more non-competitive area and non-digital area. So there are a lot of things we learned when we were children, like, we learned knitting, we learned thread work, crochet, then we also learned a little bit of cooking. We read a lot because in a teacher's home, the real asset is not money, but they are books. And we enjoyed reading books, then understanding different languages like Sanskrit, the language which was learned And now I look back, I feel it was much more comfortable and easy, and because it was non-competitive era.
Yeah, very true, ma'am. Nowadays, we are stressing on, especially learning in primary years in mother language. How do you feel and how it enhances learning in primary years, teaching in mother language?
It depends on the it depends upon the parents, because for example, we did not have a choice. I was in a village. In a village, having a school itself is a great thing, and the native language is Kannada, which is our mother tongue, so we learnt it. I do not know if it were English, what I would have been my reaction. I really do not know, but I did not have much choice. The only thing was available in Kannada, and I learnt in Kannada. So I feel it was very easy for me, because the language was spoken at home, it was spoken in the village, it was spoken in the state, and spoken in the school. There is no conflict. But
Yeah,
I really do not know. Well, for example, my children studied in a cosmopolitan city like Bangalore in English medium. Okay,
yeah,
their children study in much more cosmopolitan place like England, with much more exposure to foreign language, taking German, no, what they take, French, Spanish, and Chinese. So every era it is so different.
yeah, ma'am. So, what I have learned from your life that you have always taken a road not taken, a path which is less traveled or uncharted. You decided to become an engineer at the age of 17, which was very revolutionary step at that point of time. Maybe your family members wanted you to be to pursue history or maths, but it is because of sheer determination, passion, and your conviction you went ahead. And ma'am, now also children are facing this problem, peer pressure, parent pressure, self pressure, and they want to do something on their own. But the choice and decision making is not in their hands. So they are a lot more pressurized. What do you advise them, the young generation who want to pursue their love, their passion? Somebody wants to be a singer or a player, but father wants to be a doctor or engineer. It's very difficult for them to deal with. How should they deal with this problem?
I think it is more than children, the parents, I feel.
Yeah,
Parents have to deal with it. For example, when I decided to do engineering in 1967, in a small society like a place like Hubli, everybody said, oh, it's a man's domain, a woman cannot do. But my father gave me the choice. He said, you want to do engineering, you do. You want to do medical, you do. You don't want to do either of them, it's fine. So it is the parents who really put the children to what they wanted to become. It was their
yes,
dream, they feel their children should fulfill. So I advise parents, just allow children probably what they like to do, because they'll be happy in that. Not for the
yes,
children.
ma'am.
They will not know. At 17, 18, it's very few people know what they want to do. Most people feel what they like to do even at a later part of life. So please allow them to bloom naturally than a forced blooming.
Yeah, ma'am. While you were doing your engineering also, you are the solitary girl in your class, so you must have faced a lot of challenges. Even I know that you are the first female engineer in telco. And specifically when you read that advertisement that female candidates did not apply, which really distressed you, and you wrote a letter to J.R.D. Tata. So, how was your experience dealing with dealing so many challenges in your engineering college also? And what was your experience in telco?
Well, in engineering college, I was aware. It was not that I was not aware. I was aware that I'll be the only girl throughout my education. And I knew the boys may not cooperate because they were not used to seeing a girl. Third thing is, it's entirely a different subject and nobody will help me because my dad was a doctor. But I always felt it. I have a great belief in that. If you work hard, you can always achieve it. And after first semester, when I stood first in the university, I realized it's a more of a myth. It's a more of a our imagination that it's a man's domain. Who said it's a man's domain? Women can do very well. Then I said, okay, more people think, oh, it's so difficult. It is more in your mind. If you work hard and if you are sincere, you can do it. And that gives me enough confidence in it.
Yeah, ma'am.
Even
So,
in telco,
yeah,
when I went first time, people used to look at me, saying that what is this new girl? What is she going to do? How can she do? But if you work hard, ultimately your work is appreciated, not your gender.
Definitely. And ma'am, I have read somewhere that you leave home at 6 a.m. and come back at 10 in the night. So 15 hours together you are working. For you, work is a holiday, work is worship, your passion. These days, what advice you would give to our young generation? Ma'am, in school education, most of the workforce mostly constituted by female workforce, more than 90%, I would say. So, and more or less as a school leader or principal, I listen it very frequently that they get stressed out. How to manage that balance or maintain that balance, work and life. How they should create their own support system. Would you say something out of your experience? Because very frequently we keep listening work pressure or stressed out, they are feeling low or anxiety. All these symptoms we see in young generation. So how would you advise them or what would you advise them to maintain that work-life balance?
Is it you're talking about teachers or students?
Yes, ma'am, teachers and students alike, even young teachers also.
Both are different. Teachers are different, students are different.
Yeah, yeah,
Teachers, married teachers, unmarried teachers, things are different. Married
yeah.
is with children, that kind of teachers, it is hard for them to make work life balance. You have to build a support system. If possible, stay nearer your parents' house or in-laws' house, and they should be willing to look after your children. Second thing is, you build a social network in such a way that, somebody will come and look after them for some time. Or whenever you have holiday, you look after somebody's child, and your children will be looked after by someone else, a good neighbor or something. More than that, your husband or your partner should help. Gone were the days when men will say, I'll go to office and bring money, and wife will do. Oh, she will work in the office, come back and cook and look after children. She can do three types of work, and he will do only one. No. Today, youngsters, if they are married, their wives are working, they should pitch out their time and money and responsibility. Then only a working woman can do well. Behind every successful woman, there is an understanding man. Please remember, unless your partner or husband does not support, your family does not support, then it is very difficult or next to impossible for a working woman. Unless you get a very good maid or very good neighbor, but better is your own family people helping it. For
Yes,
youngsters, the peer pressure, but more than the pressure, it is the parents' pressure. Comparing, look at my brother's son, look at my sister's daughter. Never do that. Every flower in the God's is God's creation. Every flower is beautiful in its own way. So is every child is good in some or other ways. Don't compare and destroy their life. Once this habit of comparison starts, then our children, when they grow up, they also start comparison. The root cause of misery in life is comparison. Life is an art. It requires to understand what is an art, how to use that art. As much as possible, self-satisfaction, as much as possible, improving myself than comparing with someone. These are the few lessons you have to learn in life. And then you should also play sports, you should have many activities that keeps you happy and busy.
yes, ma'am. So if I come to your philanthropist role, when you started, I was reading your book, 3000 Stitches. Even I have read How I Got My Grandmother to Read or Wise or Otherwise, all these books. 3000 Stitches is talking about your really rescuing 3000 Devdasis that time. So in 1960s, wearing a short hair and a pair of jeans, when you started, then your father said that if you want to see the change, be the change. You be like one among them. So that was very, very inspiring, ma'am, how you started your journey. So your mission of establishing a library and a computer lab in every school in Karnataka. What was the project behind it? How the school libraries really influence school education?
When I started my work with Devdas, it was not in 1960, it was 1996. It was 1996 when I was 46
Okay.
years. I started that. And digital literacy is a must today. Like how you can have a kitchen without a pressure cooker or a microwave. Similarly, if you do not have digital literacy, then you are outdated in the marketplace. I always tell our children should know their mother tongue and equally good English, and they should have a skilled education with computer knowledge. Then only they are employable. Otherwise, they are not employable. I have seen in my vast work so many people getting a degree, not getting a job because there are no skilled job. There are no skilled education. So computer is not because you like computer, it is a survival today. It is a survival. If you want to get any job, you should know computer.
Yes, ma'am. And then you have also constructed 1,600 toilets in rural areas or more than that. And you have built roads in inaccessible areas. More so, you have given shelter to women. How do you feel providing a shelter empowers a person or specifically a woman?
We have built 16,000 toilets.
Okay.
Not 16,000, 16,000 toilets. And we have done a lot of empowering projects for women. And I feel nice when woman is economically independent and emotionally independent, can make her own decision, then they will be able to lead their life much more meaningful than living in a scare or always living in a worry.
Yes, ma'am. I have read about your latest project that is translating the classic scripts to English, you know. So what was the vision behind it or the thought process behind it?
Actually, it is not mine, it is my son.
Okay.
Roman Murthy has started Murthy Classical Library. One side, it was the one of those classic language, other side is the English translation. So that next generation should feel, for example, Kalidasa the Meghaduta, Kalidasa Shakuntala. Many people don't read because it is in Sanskrit. Suppose they make it in a simple English, people like to read. Then they will understand the treasure of our nation in terms of the literature. We like to read Shakespeare, that is fine. But we should also read our own literature, which is so rich and which is so famous. The reason behind that is introducing in a simple language the literature of India, ancient literature of India.
Ma'am, you have established also one classical, I think, library in Harvard University. Why did you choose actually Harvard University for that?
No, it is not that. The same thing, Murthy Classical Library is that will started by my son, and he was studying at Harvard. So he
Okay.
started there for the translation and printing. He did not have started a library there. No, it's only for publication and translation. He is doing that.
Okay, ma'am. So now you have retired from Infosys Foundation and you are now passionately working with Murthy Foundation. Would you throw some light on Murthy Foundation and the work presently you are doing?
Well, right now, actually, Murthy Foundation, I have seen 3 temples which were 1,000 years old and were not able to, nobody repaired that. They belong to Mujrai department. Okay. So I said, in rainy season, it really leaks. So I'm repairing it in summer, those 3 projects. Then I'm also working on a documentary on river Tungabhadra because that is one of the rare rivers in India which touches two most important sites. That is the World Heritage Site. On that I'm working. Then of course I do helping people in scholarships, medical help, all those things. But for
Yeah,
the
ma'am.
time being, I want to work more on literature now.
Okay. During this pandemic, ma'am, or unprecedented health emergency, we can say that a lot of children, they were dropped out of school. They have gone back to work. And we saw also there is a rise in domestic violence because people lost their job, people have lost their loved ones. It was a time of distress, really. So as a teaching fraternity, we try to bridge that gap. Now, when children are coming back, we see that learning loss also. What would you say about this, and what was your role during this pandemic?
Pandemic, we worked very hard. 2 years, I did not get time. We established a hospital with a 250 bed. We had ambulance. We were admitting people, particularly first and second wave. Not that much in third wave. Then very busy in getting people inoculated or vaccinated. And then we also help people with the ration kits because many people lost their wages. Okay, so we're extremely and digital literacy. So we gave poor people laptop. Okay,
Very
so we're
nice.
extremely busy in pandemic.
Yeah, because we have heard stories like children losing their life without a gadget. So they could not, it was very difficult to reach out to the last child during this pandemic.
So
Yeah.
that we did. We bought laptops and we distributed.
Yes, ma'am, NPSC also as an organization of academician, we try to provide that socio-emotional well-being or psychosocial support, and even we distributed winter warm clothes and dry ration wherever it is possible, fed the migrants also in our own little capacity, because this is a voluntary organization of school leaders only. So, I thought that this pandemic has brought us together, and it's the greatest teacher. Ma'am, I can summarize you that you have traveled from just mere a human being to being human. I mean, you are a personality who's simplicity personified, as yet has outreached the potential of human existence. That's how I can describe you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a sheer delight and our privilege to have you amongst us in NPSC. Thank you,
Thank,
ma'am. Thank you for sparing your valuable time.
thank you. I wish you all the best, all teachers. I belong to your fraternity. You are doing a good job. In our country, a teacher is, traditionally a teacher is very responsible person. We say Matru Devo Bhava, the first is always the mother. Second one is Pitru Devo Bhava, that is your father. And number three is Acharya Devo Bhava. It is a teacher. A teacher has a magic wand who takes a child, ignorant child, with that wand over a period of time, he or she changes into a knowledgeable person. You have a great responsibility, and it is one of the most joyful profession because you are always with the youngsters, so you become young at heart. So I'm very, very grateful to addressing teachers and particularly principals who are holding a responsible position. I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Namaskar. Thank you,
Jai
ma'am.
Hind.
Jai Hind.
Thank you, ma'am, for such an insightful session.